I love everything about this place. I love the state, I love living in Brisbane, and also the team. It's a team that I've grown to love.
It's kind of like a small brotherhood that we have, and it's something that we've built up. The culture, the work rate that everyone puts in, and just everything that we do as a team has been developed from us.
We're like a big family. I've got 30 brothers and 30 best friends now, and I think that's the main reason why I love being here.
I think that's probably the reason why we do have the success on and off the field, is just because everyone really does get along and they enjoy coming to the workplace and getting on with the job.
Deep underneath Suncorp Stadium, preparations begin for another home game for Super Rugby's defending champions, the St George Queensland Reds. The iconic jersey is a symbol of Queensland Rugby's most high-profile asset, but is one of many in a bursting portfolio for the Queensland Rugby Union, an organisation with a formidable pedigree that has been driven to its knees and has risen again from the ashes. For over 10 months, cameras have been based at Ballymore, watching as the Reds' blueprint for success becomes reality, and witness the incredible growth of the Reds' brand, culture, community, and the game of rugby union in Queensland.
You guys enjoying the school holidays?
Help him, help him. Good work.
They're going to pick and go all the time. I don't want to see any easy meters.
Contact, JK, get contact with him.
Over the next 4 episodes, viewers will receive a backstage pass to life with one of Australia's most high-profile sports teams, an opportunity to witness their on- and off-field ambitions, played out over the backdrop of the challenging post-premiership season.
We're aiming for 45,000 and then we're aiming for 50,000.
I see, I'm going to go to the doctor and make sure it's a boy.
We'll be targeting where the light pole is in terms of the kickoff.
Oh, stay up, what was that?
We can demo, we'll go from there, but it's not good news, tell.
How's it look? We keep kicking it away.
It's about doing the hard work first.
For me, it's just about working as hard as I can for my teammates and for the group.
We're really in a tough battle for the hearts and minds of kids and trying to make sure that their game is sustainable.
Welcome to Code Red, a look at the 2012 Queensland Reds from the inside out, and the community that has embraced and inspired their climb from perennial wooden spooners to a genuine force in world rugby.
Main Ballymore Stadium. Right. Straight down the barrel.
Straight down the barrel.
The St George Queensland Reds and Queensland Rugby are based here at Ballymore in the suburb of Hurston to the north of Brisbane CBD. Over the 30 acres of prime real estate, we have 3 training grounds and a fully equipped gym. The players and performance staff are based in the main Ballymore Stadium with a players' home room, medical unit and the main playing training field. And finally behind me is the St George Ballymore Rugby House with 2 levels which house over 60 employees.
There are numerous aesthetic reminders throughout the complex of the recent achievements of the organisation. One such centrepiece is the trophy cabinet, bursting with almost every rugby accolade available to an Australian sporting franchise, including the greatest prize of them all.
Yeah, I don't think you can underestimate the significance of that win, and it was for 2 reasons. I think there was a pretty major impact on the Australian rugby public, who'd sort of grown a little disillusioned with the way that the game was going. The Reds came along and were playing a really interesting, upbeat, up-tempo, exciting brand of rugby, which got a lot of people sitting back up and watching rugby again.
Cooper, now Ioane straightens. Digby Ioane up over the 22 and straight through! Digby Ioane puts it down! Gania through! There was an obstruction there. Will Gania, Cooper's with him. He's got Cooper. Is this a magical moment coming up? Gania! Yes! The Reds are scrambling. Carter. Could be a turnover. Turnover, less scoring. The Queensland Reds, Super Rugby champions in 2011.
There was a real impact on Australian rugby players themselves, not just the Reds. For them to come out and prove that they had the ability to win tournaments had a major impact right across the playing ranks.
The critical thing to remember with the Reds is it hasn't only just been the on-field success as well, it's the off-field success they've had in tripling the membership numbers and having a really strong campaign around We Are Red, We Are Queensland. I'm sure that a number of teams have looked over the Tasman and over the Indian Ocean and had a good look at how they've gone from where they were only sort of 3 or 4 years ago to where they are now.
3 major statistics highlight the rapid change in fortune over the last 2 years. The average crowd attendance for the Reds has increased by 49%, the largest of all Queensland's football codes, including the Brisbane Broncos. Participation numbers in the game have increased by 75%, and in the most telling increase of them all, the Reds memberships have increased by over 591%, with a target of 40,000 members for 2013.
Well, look, it's pretty obvious in the last 2-3 years they've got their act together commercially with the membership and the fans drive, and obviously the success the team's had has been part of that. The crowds that we get for the big games are exceptional, and Suncorp's a great stadium. Where we sit now, we sit in the same seats for 6 years, and we have neighbours who've been in the same seats for 6 years, so it's our own little community as well. If we see them in the rugby season, never see them again, don't know who they are, but for 2 hours on a Saturday night or a Friday night, they're our best friends.
There is a noticeable energy and confidence that a sporting organisation on the rise will exude. This only gives way to a determination to continue that growth, to nurture improvement, and the vision to never allow the organisation to revisit the darker times of its recent past. The darker times of yesteryear seem a distant memory, as the summer's heat and humidity remind us of a new season on the horizon. The St George Queensland Reds have gathered at Ballymore for the first of 7 weeks of pre-season training. Coach Ewan McKenzie and assistant coaches Jim Mackay and Matt Taylor put the mostly unchanged squad through its paces.
How it works, fellas, we'll play 2 phases unless you break through.
Okay, while you got like 4 line-outs you're throwing, these guys will just mirror, put some pressure on.
Let's go back a bit, and when you come round, he's got a call. Hang on, whoa, Ben, you go 10. Mike, you push out to 12. And you got 2 9s there, Willie and Pickle.
We're going to start picking up some of the contact stuff, so peels and mauls will start coming in. So we'll do a bit of scrummaging tomorrow, but we're doing some physical stuff as well.
The off-season was brief, and most of the squad are close to their peak fitness already. Head performance coach Damien Marsh has been busy.
So in the pre-season, it's all about trying to build the guys up physically,
their strength, speed, conditioning. It's quite heavy volume. Better. Good. Nice, Benny, perfect. So keep your balance, Chris. Keep your weights just slightly forward. So make sure we're loading off both legs. So when you're ready, we're not burning up gas in that accel now, so we're just slowly building up. That was good, guys.
In pre-season, there is a lot more happening on any given day than simply training. Today is a media-focused day at Ballymore, when players try to look their best, and those that speak and write about them try to find out just how good their best is. It's no surprise that Reds and Wallabies captain James Hall is at the summit of the media wish list. He endeavours to answer a few of their questions.
The big positive is for us is that we've got the majority of our guys on the paddock training. You know, we've got obviously Quade's probably the only one that isn't training with the full group. You look at the way the competition went last year, and you know, with it being longer this year, the whole squad mentality is, you know, becomes so important, and you know, that's what we're building. We're looking to build here is you know, a full squad that if, you know, someone is to miss out or drop out due to injury, we don't skip a beat. So that's a very important part, I think, of being successful in this competition.
The main question that everyone in the rugby world wants answered is what makes the Reds such a strong team?
If you pretty much enjoy each other's company and you work hard for each other, you get the result.
Just camaraderie between the players and the coaches and the staff.
I think everyone just enjoys themselves. We're all on the same page. We're all young. We all get along.
You know, we just like being around each other, I guess. You know, we have holidays and, you know, still guys want to be hanging out with each other.
We're all good mates, and we all know that, you know, if we don't play well, we've got the depth in the squad now that someone will come and take your spot.
There is that competitiveness, but you can learn off each other as well, what their strengths are and what you need to work on to get to that position.
Pretty much that balance between switching on and switching off about rugby, and I think that's the main thing that the boys do well.
You know, CEO Jim Carmichael, you and McKenzie, and you know, a lot of other people up there are really doing the work to make hay while the sun shines.
Rugby has a proud history in Queensland, with an organised club competition dating back to 1884. Its home has never looked healthier. However, those that work here know only too well how different things were only 3 or 4 years ago.
I guess we're very fortunate that a group of leaders came together at the right time for Queensland Rugby and for the Reds, particularly from a chairman, CEO, head coach. I haven't seen that type of trio since probably O'Neill, McQueen and Eels of the late 90s, early 2000s. And at that time and at this time, due to those characters involved and their leadership qualities, you just get the feeling that some special things are going to happen over the next few years.
We've got, I guess, a unique sporting model here in Queensland that puts us in a very, very competitive position, and that is that we're the governing body of the game, which gives us, I guess, a significant footprint across Queensland, which comes with the responsibility to nurture the growth of the game and economic stability of the game. And we also have the elite team being the Reds.
And the success of the Reds is paramount to Queensland Rugby Union and the growth of the game throughout our various markets. It's also just a business unit within Queensland Rugby, and one that has to be successful independently.
We've got to get to the position where we've got a really good relationship with our fan base and with with the grassroots of the game, that where they're helping them, they're helping us, and that relationship can go on regardless of whether the Reds win every week.
If we can engage, even if it's once, with a town or a community, they feel like they're a part of the journey.
You know, the guys should be commended for not only the job they've done on the field, but the way they've connected with their fans.
You don't get 50,000 to 3 games in a season, and no one's ever done that before in Australian rugby. It's starting to tell you there's a connection going on there between the rugby fan base and the organisation and the team.
A packed out Suncorp, you can't beat it. This year we're doing great in the memberships and everything. You start to see a few more Reds jerseys and things around the place, which is really good.
I think it's quite easy just to become distracted by the performance environment and just do everything around just the winning part of the game, but I think you've actually got to spend a lot of time connecting, and I think my contribution there is obviously to recruit players, but I recruit players to win football games, but also recruit good blokes that will actually get out there and promote the game and become advocates. I've got a lot of guys there who now have profiles in the game. They're not necessarily Wallabies, but they're profiles in the sport. Kids know them, kids like them. And we're in hot competition here in Queensland. There's a lot of other sports that are trying their best. We compete very, very well, but that's through hard work and being open and understanding the relationship between that and the team. So for us to do well in the long haul, we've got to keep all of those things moving forward. It's not just about the Reds, it's far more than that.
To best appreciate where the Reds have got to, it helps to understand where they've come from. From 1992 to 1999, Queensland were the most successful team in the Super 6, Super 10 and early Super 12 competitions, finishing top of the table on 5 occasions and winning the grand final on 3. The slide into obscurity began in 2004, where the Reds were unable to climb out of the bottom 3 for the following 6 years. A low point coming in 2007, where they collected the wooden spoon, and a 90-point loss to the Bulls. Despite a depth of talent rising from the youth ranks, every other aspect of the Queensland Rugby Union was in disarray.
For the Bulls, it's all turned pear-shaped for the Reds.
When things went bad, I think it was just the time where we really caught up with professionalism and professionalism caught up with us, in the sense that rugby historically, and still, she's a two-state show in terms of where most of the talent comes. And the game broadened with teams in Western Australia, and they had to get them from somewhere. They weren't going to get them from Perth. So I think we weren't prepared at that time as a body to expect that we were just going to be raided.
I was sort of there towards the start of that when I was finishing my career, and you could see signs of it. It looked like the culture was eroding a bit. There was a bit of infighting on and off the field, and standards slipped quite a bit during that period, and it looked like it got worse for a number of years there.
When I returned from France, I returned in the middle of rugby season 2009, I think it was, and I walked out of a few games at the stadium, and if I was walking out who was a born and bred rugby person, a traditionalist, someone who valued the part that rugby played in my life, and I was walking out of games, then that meant that they'd lost pretty well everyone.
In 2009, I was looking at other opportunities based on where the organisation was going, and one of the key memories of that time, I guess that darker time, was there was literally months where people were losing their jobs, and I guess it came down to the strength of leadership at the time, and you really know when you're looking down the barrel of on-field performance being poor, but also off-field being poor. It's a bad cocktail.
I knew at that stage that there would be some pretty big changes required.
Facing hardship across almost every level of the game, a change in direction was needed and essential for survival.
When I started, our CEO had resigned, was still on board, but he'd resigned. So he was there for a couple of months, so we obviously had a need to search for a new CEO.
It was pretty evident to me, even before I came up to Queensland, looking at where Queensland had been, and more importantly, understanding how Queensland had been such a strong province in the game. It was pretty evident to me that there needed to be a common ambition where all the stakeholders were working together.
One of the first tasks I did was put together a committee to review the Reds and the head coach. Once that was done, there was an agreement or a decision made to moved the head coach on, and obviously that meant we were in the search for a head coach as well.
When I arrived, it was pretty hollow. I mean, literally hollow. There was a lot of vacant chairs, you know, and but that was an opportunity. I saw there was an opportunity, and I'm sure Jim Carmichael saw the same thing, and Rob McCall wasn't scared to make hard decisions.
The plan was to remedy the team's success, and obviously we made some fairly big changes there, bringing a new coach, rebuilding the brand of the Reds. It's just a simple process of trying to correct what had been going in the wrong direction for a number of years.
We were very focused on, from very early, being brutally honest about where we were, recognising could we deliver a long-term legacy and vision, get genuine belief in the Queensland market that there really was a plan that was going to deliver something substantial for the game.
While the Reds of the past began the long and steady climb out of trouble, the Reds of the present fronted the rugby world as defending champions.
It doesn't get any bigger than this in week 1 of Rivalry round, the 2012 Super Rugby competition. The Waratahs are at home in Sydney at ANZ Stadium. Get set for their first game. You can see the Bob Templeton Cup there on the sideline. That's what they're playing for, Queensland and New South Wales. It's popped out the side for Genia.
Genia knocked on.
It's a try. Picked up and stolen, and it is a try. Try to the Waratahs. Palu. Victorious! Try time! His first try for his new team.
You want a line out then, make the Reds go 75 to score.
Which they can do, by the way.
Haven't looked like it tonight, though.
Dutch! Holmes to Harris, Shipley. Plenty of blue jerseys in front of him, and he's through! He's quick! Very quick! Dom Shipley for the corner!
He's got it!
Unbelievable! The siren sounds, and the Reds, like a thief in the night, they've stolen 4 points.
How do you do that? There's weeping Waratahs all over the place. There's happy Reds. They can't believe it.
Oh, look, I saw our right winger see space down the right side of the field, and he made an aggressive call. You know, he saw the space open and he called to his 9 to kick the ball there for him to chase it and try and score a try.
You've got to get yourself into the tournament. I think the Crusaders have showed over the years you just got to get going, and we did. It was a tight. We got there, got away with it at the end.
I think they'd feel pretty lucky in it right now. Yeah. Not unlucky.
Yeah.
Next time on Code Red, life with the St George Queensland Reds. The team returned to the most formidable fortress in world rugby, Suncorp Stadium, to face the Western Force. And we take a more in-depth look back at the success plan of 2009 and its first tentative steps to reverse the team's on-field fortunes. Plus, the Reds devise an initiative that will attempt to safeguard the future of rugby at all levels in Queensland. For more information on The Code, go to thecodetvshow.com.au. Join us on Facebook and Twitter for extra footage and production updates.